They did something you don't know about yet. But I saw it. Every text. Every conversation. Every moment they thought no one was watching. I saw it all. I know you've had a feeling lately, a quiet unease you couldn't quite explain. Something felt off, but you couldn't point to exactly what. Maybe you dismissed it, told yourself you were overthinking, told yourself you were being paranoid or unfair. Child, that feeling wasn't paranoia. That was me, trying to prepare your heart for what I already knew was happening. Maybe you noticed a change in tone, a slight hesitation before they answered a question, a story that didn't quite add up when you compared it to something they'd said before. Small inconsistencies you brushed aside because confronting them felt exhausting, or because you didn't want to believe what your intuition was quietly suggesting. I was in those small moments of doubt too, gently nudging your discernment even while you weren't ready to fully listen yet. I want to talk to you tonight about something difficult, the reality that someone in your life has been doing something behind your back. Talking about you differently than they talk to you. Making decisions that affect you without including you. Betraying trust in ways you haven't fully discovered yet, or perhaps have only partially begun to suspect. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear tonight. But I love you too much to let you keep walking in blindness while your own intuition has been quietly signaling that something isn't right. I want you to remember Joseph tonight, because his story mirrors this exact pain in a way that might help you understand what I'm doing even in the middle of betrayal. Joseph's own brothers, the people who should have protected him, who should have loved him unconditionally, plotted against him. They sold him into slavery, told their father he was dead, and went on living their lives while Joseph suffered in a foreign land, alone, betrayed, uncertain if he'd ever see his family again. Joseph didn't know, in that moment, that I saw everything his brothers had done. He didn't know I was already working, already positioning him for a future that would eventually place him in a position of authority over the very brothers who had betrayed him. He simply experienced the pain, the confusion, the isolation of being wronged by people who were supposed to love him. I want you to notice something important about that story. I didn't prevent the betrayal from happening. I allowed Joseph to walk through genuine pain, genuine injustice, genuine loss. But I never once stopped watching. I never once lost track of what was happening to him, or what the people who betrayed him were actually doing, even when they thought no one would ever discover the truth. Child, I am watching your situation with that same attentiveness right now. I see what's happening behind your back, even the parts you haven't uncovered yet. Nothing about their actions has escaped my notice, regardless of how carefully they've tried to hide it from you. I know it's tempting to feel foolish once you begin realizing what's been happening without your knowledge. You might wonder how you missed it, how you trusted someone who wasn't being honest with you, how you didn't notice sooner. Child, trusting someone is not foolishness. Betrayal is the fault of the person doing the betraying, not the person who extended trust in good faith. I want to remind you that Joseph didn't blame himself for trusting his brothers. He didn't spend years in slavery convinced that he should have seen it coming, that he was foolish for expecting family to treat him with basic decency. The fault always belonged to those who chose to betray him, not to Joseph for having believed, reasonably, that his own brothers wouldn't harm him. I want that same clarity for you tonight. Release any self-blame that's crept into how you're processing this discovery. I also want to address the specific pain of discovering betrayal gradually, piece by piece, rather than all at once. Sometimes I reveal truth slowly, protecting your heart from being overwhelmed all in a single moment. Other times, the truth simply unfolds slowly because that's how deception tends to unravel, one small inconsistency at a time, until eventually the full picture becomes undeniable. I know that gradual unraveling is its own particular kind of painful. Each new piece of information reopens the wound, forces you to reassess conversations you thought you understood, relationships you thought were solid, trust you thought was mutual. I understand how disorienting that process feels. I want you to know, I am not revealing this to you to destroy you. I am revealing it because I love you too much to let you continue investing trust, energy, and vulnerability into a situation that isn't what it appears to be on the surface. Sometimes protection looks like painful revelation rather than continued comfortable ignorance. I also want to speak to the specific betrayal of people talking about you differently behind your back than they do to your face. This particular wound cuts deep because it reveals a kind of duplicity that's hard to reconcile with the version of the relationship you thought you had. You trusted their kindness toward you as genuine, and now you're discovering that kindness may have been, at least in part, a performance rather than authentic care. Child, I understand how deeply that discovery wounds. It doesn't just hurt because of what they said. It hurts because it makes you question everything else about the relationship, wondering what else was performance, what else wasn't genuine, whether any of it was real at all. I want you to know. Even if some parts of their behavior toward you were performative, that doesn't mean every single interaction was fake. People are capable of holding contradictions, of genuinely caring about you in some moments while also gossiping, complaining, or betraying your trust in others. This doesn't make the betrayal less painful, but it might help you understand that human beings are rarely purely one thing or another. They contain contradictions, weaknesses, moments of genuine care alongside moments of genuine failure. I also want to speak to the anger you might be feeling right now, or will feel once the full truth becomes clear to you. Anger is a natural response to betrayal. I'm not asking you to suppress it or rush past it toward premature forgiveness. Feel it fully. Let yourself be angry about what was done to you, about the deception, about the violation of trust you experienced. But I also want to remind you, like I told you about Joseph, I already see the full picture. I see what they did. I see their motivations, even the ones they've hidden from themselves. And I am fully capable of handling accountability for their actions without requiring you to personally orchestrate consequences yourself. I know you might feel the urge to confront them, to expose what they've done, to make sure they understand the pain their behavior has caused. Sometimes confrontation is appropriate, necessary even, for your own clarity and closure. Other times, I might be leading you toward a quieter response, releasing the situation into my hands rather than pursuing confrontation that may not lead to the resolution you're hoping for. I want you to bring this specific situation to me before making any major decisions about how to respond. Ask me for wisdom about whether confrontation serves your healing, or whether release without confrontation is the wiser path this time. Every situation is different, and I don't want you making this decision purely from the emotional intensity of fresh betrayal. I also want to address the specific pain of discovering that someone has been making decisions that affect you without your knowledge or input. Whether that's decisions within a family system, a friendship, a workplace, or a romantic relationship, discovering that you were excluded from conversations that directly impacted your life carries a particular sting. It communicates, even if unintentionally, that your voice, your perspective, your stake in the outcome wasn't valued enough to include you. Child, I want you to know, your voice matters to me, even when it didn't matter enough to them in that specific situation. I see the disrespect embedded in being excluded from decisions that affected you directly. I don't minimize that pain, even as I remind you that their exclusion of you reveals something about their character and priorities, not about your worth or your right to have been included. I also want to speak to those of you discovering financial betrayal, money mismanaged, promises broken, resources used in ways you never agreed to or knew about. This particular betrayal often carries practical consequences alongside emotional ones, requiring you to navigate both the relational wound and the tangible fallout of decisions made without your consent. I see the weight of that combined burden. I am not distant from the practical consequences you're facing, even as I remain present in the emotional processing this discovery requires. I also want to remind you of something important. Just as I positioned Joseph for eventual restoration and elevated purpose despite the betrayal he experienced, I am not finished writing your story either. The betrayal you're discovering right now is not the final word on your life, your relationships, or your future. It is a painful chapter, but it is not the entire book. I know it's hard to see beyond the immediate pain of discovery right now. The betrayal feels overwhelming, all-consuming, difficult to imagine moving beyond. I understand that difficulty. But I want you to trust, the same faithfulness that eventually elevated Joseph beyond his brother's betrayal is available to work in your situation too, even if the specific outcome looks different from his particular story. I also want to speak directly to the shame some of you feel upon discovering betrayal, shame for not noticing sooner, shame for trusting someone who wasn't trustworthy, shame that others might view you as foolish for having been deceived. Child, deception is designed to be convincing. That's what makes it deception rather than obvious dishonesty. You are not foolish for having trusted someone who was skilled at hiding their true intentions or actions from you. I know some of you are discovering this betrayal within close family relationships. A sibling, a parent, an extended family member who has been undermining you, speaking against you, or making decisions that harm you while maintaining an appearance of normalcy in your direct interactions. Family betrayal carries additional complexity, because you cannot simply walk away the way you might from a friendship or acquaintance. Ongoing family obligations, holidays, shared history all complicate how you navigate moving forward after discovering this kind of betrayal. I understand that particular complexity. I am not going to give you a simple formula for navigating family betrayal, because every family system carries unique dynamics that require wisdom specific to your particular circumstances. What I can promise you is this: I will give you wisdom for how to move forward if you ask me specifically, honestly, bringing me the actual details of what you're facing rather than trying to figure this out purely through your own understanding. I also want to speak to the fear some of you carry about what this discovery means for your future, whether this betrayal will happen again with someone else, whether you can ever fully trust anyone again, whether this experience has permanently damaged your ability to extend trust in future relationships. Child, one person's betrayal, or even multiple betrayals throughout your life, does not determine the trustworthiness of every future person you encounter. Healing from this wound doesn't mean forgetting caution or wisdom. It means eventually being able to extend trust again, with appropriate discernment, without carrying the full weight of past betrayal into every new relationship. I know that healing process takes time. I'm not asking you to trust immediately or easily after discovering this betrayal. I am simply reminding you that permanent isolation, permanent guardedness against ever trusting anyone again, isn't the healthy resolution I want for you either. Somewhere between naive trust and complete isolation exists wise, discerning trust, and I will help you find that balance as you heal. I also want you to consider something important tonight. The fact that I am revealing this truth to you now, rather than allowing you to remain in ignorance indefinitely, is itself an act of love and protection. I could have allowed you to continue trusting blindly, but I care too much about your well-being, your discernment, your ability to make wise decisions about your relationships and your future, to let deception continue unchecked. This revelation, painful as it is actually a gift, even though it doesn't feel like one right now. It's an opportunity for clarity, for wisdom, for making decisions based on truth rather than false assumptions about the loyalty and honesty of people in your life. I know tonight might feel like the ground has shifted beneath you. Like something you thought was solid has revealed itself to be far less stable than you believed. I want you to know, I am solid ground beneath you, even when human relationships prove unstable. I am trustworthy, even when people you trusted have proven otherwise. I am not going anywhere, even as you process the pain of this particular betrayal. So here is what I want you to declare tonight, in Jesus' name, I will not let this betrayal define my ability to trust again in the future. I will bring my anger, my hurt, and my confusion honestly before God, trusting Him with how to respond wisely. I will remember that God sees everything, even what was hidden from me, and He is fully capable of handling justice in ways I cannot orchestrate myself. I already know what they did. I saw it before you discovered it, and I have already begun working within this situation, even before you were fully aware of what needed addressing. Trust me with the parts of this you still don't fully understand. Trust me with how to move forward. Trust me with your healing, your discernment, and your future relationships. You are not foolish. You are not naive. You are someone who trusted in good faith, and that trust reflects well on your character, not poorly. Let me handle what was done behind your back. You focus on healing, on wisdom, on the beautiful future I still have planned for you, undiminished by this painful discovery. If this message brought you clarity tonight, take a moment and like this video. And if you know someone who's currently discovering betrayal they didn't expect, share this with them. Tell us in the comments. What is God revealing to you right now that you need His wisdom to navigate? We'd love to stand in prayer with you.